welcome. I'm Susan Smith. Today we're talking about a quilting reality check. And specifically because I've been talking all this week about my free Motion Quilting Masterclass, chatting about what kind of quilter I am, what style of quilting, what kind of person, what kind of teacher, and maybe what kind of quilter you're looking for if you're learning to if you're wanting to learn free motion quilting. So let's chat about that a bit. As always, it takes a minute for YouTube to let people know that we're here. So I'll chat briefly and then I'll give that intro again. So I'm standing in front of today's project, which is a big t-shirt quilt, and I've been working on it a little bit yesterday afternoon and today, and then in about an hour I'll be quilting live streaming. So here we go. People are checking in. Fantastic. YouTube, you done good. Let everybody know. Okay. As a few more join, I'm Susan Smith. Many of you have been coming every day and know me by now, but just in case there's a few new ones, we're in my studio, Stitched by Susan, and I've been live Monday through Saturday every day for the last month or so, chatting about machine quilting related topics. And not really teaching lessons, but just chatting about various topics. Lots of you have chimed in with questions. But today particularly, because I've been talking about my free motion quilting masterclass so much this week, I'm calling it a quilting reality check, but I wanted to kind of clarify what type of quilter I am. So what kind of quilts I like doing and kind of what my style of teaching, working is, in case you're interested and want to know, are we the right fit? A number of questions have come in via email, and they often have to do with, does your class teach custom quilting? Do you deal with ruler work? Do you do stitching in the ditch? So let me clarify, particularly in this one area. I do all of those things sometimes. I think I've quilted a little bit in every style. I've dabbled in a lot of things because I like to try new stuff. But I've known for quite a while that my love, what I'm passionate about, is quilting edge to edge or all over designs, same design over a whole quilt. And particularly, I love coming up with creative and interesting and beautiful designs that are not super complex to quilt, that I can do absolutely freehand. So there's no marking, there's no pre-planning, the computer's not running it, so there's no sizing or matching up repeats or anything like that. I don't have a paper pantograph from the back of my machine. All those things are possibilities, but they're not my style, right? So my style is this edge to edge all over quilting. There is a tiny little bit in the course about applying some of those designs to, custom areas, scaling them up and down, things like that. So that's kind of the first big thing about my style. The other one would be just who I am as a quilter. I'm a pretty practical person. So later today, in fact, in a little less than an hour, I'm going to be live streaming working on this t-shirt quilt. And I do these live streams a couple of times a month, and always they are done in real time because I'm streaming live, and I sometimes will edit the introduction off, but other than that, there's no editing. So you get to see how long things take, what happens when thread breaks, how I deal with the particular characteristics of a quilt. So in today's project, for example, it's a t-shirt quilt. So I'm certainly dealing with a multitude of different fabric types. Like even among t-shirts, there are thick, thin, velvety, all different kinds of fabric. There's what's the word I want? The screen printing, right? Which can be quite plasticky. I don't know if you can hear that, my fingernails on that one. There are some badges, like actual embroidered badges on this quilt. So you've got this mix of fibers and thicknesses and fairly bulky seams, and again, that plasticky screen printing. So today's topics will be about those sorts of things. So I'm a very practical quilter, and I'm pretty open about my process. I've been embarrassed lots of times on live stream and whatever. I'm okay with that, because what I've learned over time, after I've got over the embarrassment, I've learned that those are the episodes that mean the most to you, because they show you how to get through a thing. And inevitably, if you do a lot of quilts, are going to run into these same things. So this is just an opportunity for you to see. So I'm very real about my quilting. I'm very real about why I use certain things or don't use others, or why I choose methods, for example, for loading that are not kind of mainstream, but here's why they work for me, right? So that you can make decisions for yourself. So I'd love to see if you have any questions. An email went out to my whole email list this morning inviting them here to ask questions, if indeed they have them. So let's buzz back to the beginning. Good morning, good morning. Diane, Corey, Margot, Susan, Rianne. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Trying to scroll down to comments because I did see some. Monica from Germany, later in the day for you. Thanks for joining. Zarina, New York, Deborah, Terry, Savannah, Lauren, lots of names I know. This is lovely. Linda, I always love your videos and have learned so much. You've given me so much confidence. Yay! That is one of my goals, and in fact, one of my promises in my masterclass. Fearless skill is my little subtext underneath the class. So I'm so happy to know when that is coming through, that is translating. Erica, good afternoon. You must be in an Eastern time zone, and you're from France. I know, and you've been here almost every day. Debbie also finished a small quilt yesterday using the plumes design from the masterclass. So happy that I can make something so beautiful. That just makes me happy, Debbie. You're a star student, by the way. Corey, it's so much more informative when there are hiccups on your lives. Yes. And you guys, I'll take one for the team. Take one for the team. Sandra, Janet, Kay, just buzzing to see if there are. Victoria, looking forward to see your new live and unscripted. Awesome. So let's chat for a minute about what today's will be, and I'll go over this again when I'm doing the live stream because there will be a lot more people on then. I did start this last night. I loaded it because it's absolutely huge. It's like 91 by 100 and something. I can't remember now. So I wanted to get it loaded. That will not translate well on camera because it's so big and it's just difficult to even get cameras around it. And frankly, I wanted to get started to see if there were any wrinkles that I needed to work out so that this morning I could talk a little bit knowledgeably. So I do have some things to say about needle choice, about speed of quilting, and about pattern choice. It so happens that this quilt is definitely the t-shirts of a firefighter. So I'm quilting flames, which is kind of a fun thing. And this flames design is one that I teach in the masterclass. And so that's kind of a side corollary. Those who are students in the masterclass find a lot of support in these live and unscripted because they're often the same designs. So though I don't teach them on YouTube in great depth, and it's difficult to see the quilting because I'm working on client quilts, yet it's intended to give you this big picture view of the whole quilting process, right? Not just the intricacies of the design. So I think that it's a great support. So when you've learned how to do those intricacies, how to create that repeating design, then you can come to one of these live and unscripted episodes and watch me put it on a quilt and deal with things that arise as I'm doing it on a quilt too. So, Beverly, what do you back the T fabric to stabilize? Beverly, I didn't sew the quilt. Now I can look at a corner and probably tell you what's on it for stabilizer. It's definitely an iron-on interfacing that's on the back for stabilizer, although I did not make the quilt. I'm just doing the quilting portion. Well, and the binding portion. Okay, hang on. I got lost in my comments. Deborah's still working on my husband to be open to my investing in the masterclass. You know what? You do what is right for you. I mean, of course I want you to come. Of course I want you to learn and get comfy free motion quilting. But also, I never, never, never want to be pushy about this. I want it to be just the right fit and the right timing. Savannah, as alumni, I know we have access to the masterclass content, but can we retake the class entirely? I mean, that is the whole class, and you always have access to the Facebook group. Savannah, I've limited the Zoom sessions to like this current knot of students and the previous one, just because they were getting so big. So that's the only portion that it's not as easy for you to take. However, you're always welcome to email me. And if the groups aren't too big, I can get you in there. Absolutely. Linda, finally caught you live. I found your masterclass extremely helpful. Looking forward to all your updates to the class. Yes, so last year in 2024, we refilmed the whole thing. When I first did it, I was pretty novice, honestly, at camera work and angles and lighting, and the big thing with long arm quilting, which is the motion of the machine, right? And vibration and even angle. So you can sort of translate what you're seeing into where you're standing at your machine. So we did refilm it all in 2024, got better camera angles and certainly better clarity, added transcripts so that you can watch with closed captions, you can translate with closed captions, all kinds of things that make it more accessible, I feel like. And it never expires, right? So any student that enrolls can always come back. And if I ever add more updates or refilm again, all of that just gets updated for you automatically. Lori's Quilting Studio. I've been computerized for 1 year. I want to hand guide and custom quilt my own quilts, still practicing smoother designs. Yep, that's the way to start. I do, one of the features of my style of quilting is that I'm quite intentional about how you practice things, how you practice the simplest circles, L's, E's, because I think that those are foundational to smooth quilting. So one whole module of the masterclass is given over to talking about ways to practice, ways to master consistency and uniformity, and then applying that to your quilting. Diane, do you do the binding on the long arm? I certainly can, Diane, and I certainly have done, and I might for this quilt because it's so dang heavy. In general, I don't, for a purely preferential reason. I've got a system at my domestic sewing machine. I have a big table that the quilt rests on. I have the perfect foot. I've figured out my seam allowances. I always cut my binding the same width. So I tend to do it at my domestic sewing machine, but I absolutely can do it at the long arm with a straight ruler. And by the way, that's one of the bonuses in the masterclass is how to apply binding with the long arm. Paulette took the masterclass 2 to 3 years ago. I now see the updated class. Great. Thanks, Susan, for the better camera angles. You're welcome. That was the #1 ask. We did it. Debbie, love that I can go back and rewatch a module to refresh my thoughts of how to stitch out a design. It's so helpful. There are over 25 different designs in the masterclass, and my support with Zoom sessions and so forth only lasts for 6 weeks. So I strongly recommend to students that you don't try and absorb all the designs all at once. Literally grab 1 or 2 from a module that appeal to you, play with those, use them on a couple of quilts, and go ahead and jump into the next module. You can always come back and add other designs as you find a use for them. So there's a little bit of sequential with the practice methods at the beginning, but by and large, you can cherry pick designs as you will. Every so often, I've gotten a comment that the first module is too simple. There's a lot of actually loops and circle-based designs, and they are simple, but again, it's this idea of if you get the foundations right, you can build anything on it. If you learn your multiplication facts, all of your math classes through middle school and high school and college will be so much easier, right? If you can make round loops consistently and control your machine consistently, everything else becomes so much easier. Am I speaking truth, those of you who have been there? Okay. So that looks like all of the comments at the moment. So a couple more things. I will be coming live again tomorrow morning. Enrollment does officially close for the masterclass tonight. I know from experience that I almost always get emailed the next day. So I'll tell you a little secret. I will still get people in because I'm small and it's just me and Erin at this end, so we can do that for you. But I will be coming live tomorrow morning and kind of opening it up, I think, to sort of ask me any question about long arm quilting. I know many of you will attend today's live and unscripted session, so you might have questions about that. Feel free to bring them, or anything that has to do with machine quilting. One thing that I did want to mention, I haven't said yet today, is in this new update of the masterclass, I also demonstrated everything at the long arm, which comes as no surprise, but in addition, I demonstrated every single design at my domestic sewing machine as well. Again, just trying to make this as accessible as I possibly can for as many quilters as I possibly can. Side story, because I love telling you stories. Someone contacted me this week who just bought a long arm exactly like mine, the Bernina Q24 and the Q-Matic system, and is looking for private lessons. So either her place or mine. Would I come and spend time teaching her how to use it? And I haven't given my answer yet officially, but I'm leaning toward no, because my passion is to help as many quilters as I can. So the purpose of creating the masterclass, the purpose of going on YouTube, the purpose of filming these things is so that more people can watch and refer back to them. And if I start teaching one by one by one by one, it, for one thing, will pare down the time that I can spend creating these things that I share. And for another, I'll soon run out of time. There's just not that many people I can help one-on-one. So it's an interesting thought. We'll see how it goes. Beverly, is there a problem with tension on a tea quilt with different fabrics? I've had to kind of accept, Beverly, that possibly it will not be perfect as I move from one fabric into another. Although, with this t-shirt quilt, it is actually going very, very well. My Bernina is pretty darn good about giving me beautiful stitches no matter what. I've done some memory quilts. They are traditionally the ones that tend to have the mixed media fabric, right? I've had some that have like a polyester or a satin. Those tend to be quite different and the stitches lay different and look different on them. But on this t-shirt quilt, I'm not really having much trouble. I was kind of attuned for that, but it's going quite well actually. So stylish, Erica, getting my Juki today, so I'll be watching as much as I can and practicing all weekend. Yay, yay, yay. Thanks for all your great advice. You are so welcome. Lauren, your class is fabulous. I need to go back and check out the new class with the new angles. Yes. So initially, when we first filmed it, all the close-ups were from like the far side of the frame looking down on it. And in my head, I thought, well, that's like a student standing right there and looking over the frame, right? But in the viewfinder, you don't get the idea of I'm standing on that side of the frame. Students just got the, I'm looking at it upside down. What the heck are you doing? So people were actually turning their devices and watching it upside down. Bless their hearts. So yes, that was the #1 ask. Give us some better camera angles that we can like translate and put ourselves where you are a little better. So we did all that. And I got a professional videographer in, so that helped too. Corey, your attention to detail is so encouraging. Aw, thanks for that, Corey. Another part of my personal style is I try to maintain this delicate balance between I love high quality work. Like if I'm gonna make a quilt, I want the piecing to be excellent, perhaps not perfect, but excellent. I want the quilt to come out square. I want the tension to be pretty on my quilting. I love high quality work. And yet, I like doing things fast and efficiently. So there's always this little bit of tension in me. So that's the kind of style you'll get from me. I will not pound for perfect points, but I will say it's worthwhile having good ones, right? And if you're gonna do something, my mother used to say, it's worth doing well. I bet your mother said that too. So there's this fine line. In fact, I think I did a podcast episode, I don't know, maybe 6 weeks ago or so on the I forget what I called it, the sweet spot between excellence and efficiency. I think as a quilter, and especially as a business owner in my quilting, I've tried to navigate that, right? I always want to do high quality, excellent work, but I can't afford to spend over the top amounts of hours doing it. So I try and find that balance, and I try to teach that as well. How can you achieve really great quality results, but get there as efficiently as you possibly can? That's my shtick. Okay, Linda, could you film helping one person set her Q24 up and the tips to begin her quilting journey? So I won't likely ever film setting up a Q24, although Dave and I did do mine. That's not our area of expertise. We only did it because I wanted to fully understand every aspect of the frame, and indeed I do. It took us about 8 hours to set up the frame and 6 hours to do the Q-matic, which is not horrible for our first time, but dealers and store owners are way better at that than I am. So likely I will never do a tutorial about that. But you asked about the tips to begin her quilting journey. I've addressed that one already, Linda. I just, a couple of months ago, released a new and much smaller course called Machine Quilting for Beginners, because it's for long armers and domestic machine quilters. And it's not about the quilting designs at all. It's about the practical aspects. It's about basting and choosing needles and batting and thread and assessing your quilt top and how big should your backing be and all those practical things that apply to getting a good result. So I've tried to address that one already. Monica is asking, what presser foot are you planning to use for the t-shirt quilt? I had best luck due to the different fabrics with my Handy Quilter cupped foot. I did try my cup clip. You guys know that I love that one when I have like differentials and thick seam allowances. I found that I was having difficulty seeing, and I'll show you today. There are a couple aspects on this quilt that I needed to see where I was going specifically. So now I've just got my ruler foot on and it's actually doing fine. While the quilt as a whole is thick, it's not, there's not this differential, there's not bulky seam allowances. So I am able to raise my hopper foot just a little bit. I've got a dial on my Bernina, so I just raise the whole thing a tiny bit to accommodate the thick quilt, and I'm going with that. I probably could use my darning foot too, but the ruler one is what I had on, so I just proceeded. Corey, yes, we all have to find our own sweet spot. Indeed we do. Indeed we do. For different quilters, that's a different place. I was just trying to describe kind of where I am. So any of you that are considering the masterclass have some sense of what kind of a teacher I am. Beverly, so happy I ordered the cup foot, game changer for me. Yes, it is one of the most valuable feet, I think, if you do any amount of quilts that have bulky seams in them. It is a game changer. All right, you guys, one last tiny little course pep talk. You can find information like the whole syllabus, the modules, what's in them all, and more information and frequently asked questions on my website, stitchedbysusan.com. Grab the Learn tab and scroll down to the Free Motion Quilting Masterclass. What else about it? Enrollment is officially open till tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific time. And yeah, the other thing that's happening today at 9 o'clock, so that's like in, I don't know, 40 minutes from now, is we are going to be live streaming on YouTube on this channel. So that episode is already loaded. You should be able to find it coming live and see what time it is for you. And I will be working on this t-shirt quilt and quilting flames. So fun, smoking hot. Beverly, thank you for your expertise. You are so welcome. Thanks you all for joining. There are 84 people here. Thank you. I appreciate you joining me in my quilting space and listening to me chatter on. I always love talking about quilting, and it is my joy to be an encouragement and a help to all of you. So I'll tune in at about 9 o'clock, 40 minutes or so. Hope to see you there.